I feel like there's this misconception that in order to not have to work your day job, you kind of have to be a little bit of a brainiac, bit of a genius, hard worker, have some natural intellectual ability, high IQ, I don't know, whatever. I just want to say that's wrong. I think what people have to do in order to not have to work a day job, it's not work ethic necessarily. It doesn't have to be luck, although that definitely helps. I think it's primarily pushing the boundaries in new areas. Offering something new in an area that's oversaturated or tapping into an area that is not already oversaturated. For example, a lot of people think, a lot of guys my age might think, I don't want to work a day job anymore. I'll do what I love, which is playing video games. I'll start streaming. But unfortunately, they're personality-less and they bring nothing new to the table. So you have to play into your strengths. I feel like what I bring to the table on YouTube is a somewhat natural ability to teach stuff. And I feel like I know that because I've been to enough classes where teachers just suck and they don't know how to think from the perspective of the student. And that's always driven me absolutely bonkers, and it has inhibited my success throughout college. So to prove that point, to prove that you don't necessarily have to have an amazing work ethic and that you don't necessarily have to be a brainiac, that what is required is that you bring something new to the table, something that has yet to be tapped into in a way that you and nobody else can. Not saying it's easy to figure that out, but that's how you do it. To prove that point, I want to talk about some stories from my college career that really illustrate how bad of a worker I am and how whenever I don't want to do something, more than likely I'm just not going to do it, or I'll do the bare minimum amount of work to get it done if I am required to do it. For example, in college I had chemistry labs. 3 hours, 3 times a week in the evenings, right when it's nice and dark and wet in the middle of winter, so you for sure want to kill yourself when you're done. One of the labs, I don't remember exactly all the details, but you're supposed to get this red solution within 99% of the exact same redness, the same wavelength as the red solution given to you by the professor. Spent 3 hours trying to kind of wing it and get lucky and figure it out. Couldn't figure it out. By the end of the 3 hours, we put it in this little, I want to say it's called a spectrometer. That's coming to mind. That could be totally wrong. Put it in there. It was 68% accurate. We needed 99%. Me and my lab partner. It was too red. So I grabbed it. I ran over to the sink. Just went little splash of water in there. Threw it back in. 99%, baby. 99%. We got within 99%, but pure luck. Another example is didn't study for a class at all. Always was getting D's on the tests and stuff. I was getting a D in the class, and I was risking failing the class towards the end of the semester. So I went into the professor's office and I asked him, "Hey man, I'm really struggling. I can't seem to understand what's going on in this class. Is there anything I can do to help raise my grade?" And he's asking me questions like, "Are you studying enough?" And I said, "Yeah, I think I'm just highlighting too much of the textbook." And if you actually looked at my textbook, number one, I probably couldn't find it. Number two, there was definitely not a single thing highlighted in there. And eventually he said, "Yeah, you can write a paper on Takata airbags," which are actually crazy. They were like airbags that kept exploding and shooting shrapnel and killing people. Wild stuff. So I did. I wrote a paper on the Takata airbags, rose my grade from a D- to a B+ somehow. Another instance where I was trying to weasel my way out of doing work and just trying to squeak by if I could was when I was taking an introduction to market trading class. I felt like I already knew how the markets work, how options work, and how futures work, so I was just skipping every single class. Went to the first class, skipped every class after that for 4 weeks. I unfortunately made the mistake of walking by my professor's office one day, and he called me in, sat me down, looked me in the eyes, and said, Adam, where you been, man? You little chubby head. Why you skipping my class?" What I should have said was, "I'm sorry, I won't do it again. I'm just being lazy. I'll show up from here on out." Instead, I picked the one thing that was actually true. You got to find a nugget in truth in every lie. I picked the one thing that was actually true, the one reason I skipped the most recent class, and I said, "I'm sorry, I really wanted to come. I just couldn't get off the toilet." And this was the face he made. And that face is burnt into my memory because it just says, take me back to a time when I did not hear that. It was like I had polluted his entire being, and it still hurts me to this day. That time didn't work, obviously. He said come to class, so I started coming to class, and the following classes after that were pretty awkward. When we made eye contact with each other, it was like we were both thinking about me on the toilet. That was the only interaction we'd ever have, is talking about me on the toilet. So we're both thinking about it when we make eye contact. It was terrible. Another time I skipped my first math class in my freshman year of college. Didn't really understand the structure of the class. When the first test rolled around, I went to take the test in the computer lab. Felt like I nailed it. Felt like I nailed it so good. I was like, why go to our math class that's scheduled later today? We just took a test. What's the point? So I went home, and I don't know if you guys remember Yik Yak. It's like a way to talk. It's like Twitter for for college people. And I asked on Yik Yak, hey, college algebra people, did I miss anything important in class today? And they're like, good God, buddy, you missed the other half of the test. Missed another entire half of the test. Didn't know. I thought it was just normal class, so I failed it. I got a B plus in the class at the end of the semester, though, so not so bad. Another time, I started taking 6 classes, started dropping them one by one because I just wasn't feeling it until I was only taking 2, and then skipped those almost every single time, and ended the semester with 2 Ds in the only 2 classes I was taking. Double Ds, baby. What else do we got? Where's my notebook here? Got a list here. One time in high school, I was in a cross country, and we were supposed to race our team to different spots in our town and take photos to prove that we've been there. I just snuck out to my Oldsmobile and just drove to each part. On the last day of class, even though I wasn't guaranteed that if I skipped it, I would pass the class, I skipped my last speech that I was supposed to do in speech class because I really, really didn't want to do it. And then lastly, I skipped my graduation ceremony. So the moral of the story today is, number 1, pick a degree you're interested in, unless it's a liberal arts degree. You know, like, don't be totally stupid, but don't do a degree you don't want to do. Otherwise, you're just not going to put in the work. Finance to me is not inherently interesting. Obviously, the markets are interesting because you can make money out of it. If you couldn't make money out of the markets, like, it would be the most boring thing on the planet. The line goes up or it goes down. The fact that you can make money is what makes it interesting to me. Finance itself, honestly, don't really care that much. It's so wishy-washy. So many things are hidden behind curtains. It's hard to find information. Like, I feel like my brain's wired for something like math where it's very concrete. You're either right or you're wrong, and you can immediately find why you're wrong. As compared with finance, it's like finding information on it is total just gobbledygook. And you can come to certain conclusions on your own that may be totally inaccurate. I don't like that uncertainty. So that's the first moral of the story. The second one, I had to write it down so I don't forget. It's if I can be at least moderately successful, which I think I am. I think I'm moderately successful. I think my net worth right now is around 300K at 25. That's pretty good. It's not mind-blowing, but it's pretty good. If I can be moderately successful, so can you. And it requires you finding what you can offer different to the table. It doesn't mean doing what other people do. If you're going to stream Call of Duty, you better have a reason why people should watch you. And that's going to be the reason you make money. You can't just hit record, start streaming, and think you are inherently interesting enough to make it happen. And I'm not talking just about streaming. If you're going to set up a store on the internet, it can't just be a store that you set up on the internet and you start advertising. There's got to be something unique about that store that draws people to you. If you're going to start a YouTube channel, you have to bring something new to the table. And it can be just a small asset, just slightly different, a slightly nice twist on something that already exists, and you can succeed. So don't worry about being the smartest person or having the best work ethic. Think about how you're different and how you can capitalize on your differences to maybe not have to work a full-time job. Granted, I basically stumbled into this by pure luck, but I think that's what I've learned through my experience. And I think, it might serve some people well to realize that, hey, maybe if I try, I won't have to work a 9 to 5. If you don't want to, some people do. I just feel like a lot of people are working 9 to 5s going, man, I wish something had just landed in my lap where I don't have to work this 9 to 5, but they've never tried. Don't be afraid to try and fail multiple times, and you have to go crawling back to a 9 to 5, so be it. If you put your brain power behind it you have plenty of time to do that, right? Don't tell me, most of you guys have at least 5 hours a day where you're not doing jack, okay, even during the work week. You have time to sit and think for an hour and think about what you can bring to the table and see if you can be successful in something that you actually enjoy. So don't be afraid to try that and fail, because a lot of people don't try and they immediately fail by not trying. When I want to do something, I get it done. Like, I'm studying to be a private pilot. I'm going like flying and studying for at least 5 hours every single day on top of whatever else I got going on, which honestly isn't much. But my point being, when I'm interested in something, I work hard to get it done. And I feel like that's what other people do as well. If they're interested in something, they have a lot of passion, they'll work hard to get it done. The problem is society and maybe other people in your life levy these ideas of what you should be onto you, and you start pursuing those because you have those external pressures pushing you in that direction, but you don't have any passion for it. And so maybe you're not as successful as you should be, or you're just miserable in general, even if you are successful pursuing what other people want you to do. So work towards stuff that makes you happy if you can. I'm not saying everybody can get out of doing a 9 to 5. It's literally how our society functions. If everybody got out of a 9 to 5, it'd just be absolute chaos. So not everyone's going to be able to do it, but it's worth a shot is all I'm saying. It's worth a shot. And let me tell you, I am so thankful for you guys. If I were working in corporate finance right now, I would not be a happy boy whatsoever. So thank you guys. I love you. Follow me on Iris. You can see my trades. That app is honestly genuinely awesome. And I'll talk to you guys soon. See ya.